Howie Roseman does it again with another offseason trade. Kenny Pickett is involved once again, except instead of receiving him, he's now being shipped to the Cleveland Browns for a 5th-round pick in Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Now, I, like you, am not necessarily the biggest fan of Kenny Pickett, but you got to give the man credit. When he came in to be a backup for Philadelphia, he filled in the role just nicely. Did exactly what you would want a backup to do. Played really well, showed toughness, was able to operate the offense, and ultimately, it attributed to a season that captured us a Lombardi trophy. So whatever we paid for, Kenny Pickett, whether it was like a 3rd-round pick or a 4th-round pick to get a player like Kenny Pickett on the roster, we ended up getting Dorian Thompson-Robinson and a 5th-round pick in return, plus a Super Bowl title in that sense. But the other thing that we have to consider is the upgrades that we made at quarterback now, because now, as much as I like Kenny Pickett, like I said, Tanner McKee is now quarterback too. And this is something that a lot of Philadelphia Eagle fans, other people in other fan bases were calling for it as well. Tanner McKee is now quarterback too. And you've gotten an upgrade at backup quarterback. So I want you to look at the trade just like this. You traded Kenny Pickett for an upgraded quarterback too, your backup quarterback in Tanner McKee. And you got a depth piece in Dorian Thompson-Robinson plus a 5th-round draft pick. That's what you ended up getting for Kenny Pickett. Plus, the guy's on a rookie deal. Tanner McKee's on a rookie deal. You saved a little money in the cap space because Kenny Pickett's entering the final year of his rookie contract, and he gets a chance to start with an organization like the Cleveland Browns and a coach like Kevin Stefanski. All in all, a good trade. It's exciting news for Philadelphia Eagle fans because now Howie Roseman once again has accumulated a draft asset to maybe potentially add more pieces to this NFL roster. Okay, and we're going to talk about maybe some moves, some of the impacts that this means for the offense in particular. But before we do that, we introduce the show. This is the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. I'm Asif Badi, and like you, I am a Birds fan who talks about the Birds, only the Birds, and nothing but the Philadelphia Eagles. So please do us a favor here. Help this channel grow organically by shooting this video a thumbs up, hitting the subscribe button, and commenting your thoughts in the comments section below on the Kenny Pickett trade, because in the end, it helps me get out to as many other Eagle fans out there as much as possible. Also, check us out on audio platforms like Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and leave a 5-star review, because in the end, it doesn't cost you a damn thing. It's free. And like you, like me, I like free stuff. Free things are good. So please, help me out. Put a smile on my face. Be a kind human being and hit the subscribe button. We really appreciate your support. So listen, like I said, Kenny Pickett's now a Brown. And now we got the Morman Missile at backup quarterback. And what does this potentially mean for the Eagles offense? Well, I'll tell you this. There are a lot of fans outside of the Philadelphia Eagle fan base who love what they see from Tanner McKee. They do. And what this move tells me is that the Philadelphia Eagles looked at this season and they looked at what they saw and they said, hey, you know what? We were really hesitant about putting Kenny Pickett in as quarterback 3 after acquiring him from a trade. But you know what? Tanner McKee's a fan favorite. He played well as a backup. In my opinion, I think is a better operator in the pocket and a better quarterback than Kenny Pickett. And the organization looked at it and said, hey, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, if Jalen Hurts gets hurt, because he gets hurt every year, Tanner McKee can come in and really play lights out football. And then worst case scenario, you have Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who can run a similar offense that Jalen Hurts can run. Because in the end, I think what this move is signifying, the fact that they traded Kenny Pickett, I think what this means is that the Eagles organization is telling the rest of the NFL, hey, if you want to make an offer for Tanner McKee at the end of this upcoming season, go ahead and make your offer. Remember, we drafted him in the 6th round. Now, I would love to keep Tanner McKee. I would. But in the end, if somebody's going to offer you a 3rd round pick or a 4th-round pick for a quarterback like Tanner McKee? Are the Philadelphia Eagles going to say no to that proposition? To be honest with you, if you're running a football team and you got to look at it long term, you already captured the Lombardi Trophy with Jalen Hurts, so you know he can get the job done. You trust the rest of your roster because the rest of your roster is pretty much locked set for the next few years. If someone throws a 3rd, 4th-round pick at me for a chance at Tanner McKee, Howie Roseman is going to answer the phone and listen to that phone call and most likely accept that trade. Because, as much as I like Tanner McKee and we saw what he would look like with starting caliber weapons on the outside, he's a quarterback that can operate the pocket. He can operate an offense at a pretty good level, right? Is he going to win you a Super Bowl? I'm not going to say that. But you know what? Does he deserve the chance to start in this league? I believe he does. I think he's shown enough in Eagle Land that he deserves the opportunity to start. Now, there's some pundits out there who believe that Dorian Thompson-Robinson is going to be able to beat out Tanner McKee. To that, I would just say, pump the brakes a little bit. This guy's only thrown 1 touchdown and 10 interceptions. That's 1 more touchdown than me in the NFL. Okay, and I'm not trying to question Dorian Thompson-Robinson's ability because in college he was a dynamic player and he's had some moments in the NFL and he was playing with the Browns. But let's just pump the brakes here a little bit in terms of what this guy's going to be able to do this coming season. I think he's going to have a season where he's going to be quarterback 3. He's going to sit on the bench for a little bit, and then next offseason you're probably going to see him as a backup quarterback because by then the Philadelphia Eagles may trade a quarterback like Tanner McKee. Do I want to trade the Morman Missile? No, I don't. I think he's a very functional, viable backup quarterback. When you're in a pinch, can start for you and can win you games. But if other teams in the NFL see it, if a team like Pittsburgh, for example, decides, hey, let me throw you a 3rd, 4th-round pick for a Tanner McKee, or what if a team like, like I don't know, if the Raiders decide to draft a quarterback, the Seahawks maybe. Well, they just took Sam Darnold. You get my point here. There's a lot of teams out there that can use a quarterback. The Rams may even throw a draft pick at you for a guy like Tanner McKee. There's a lot of teams out there who could take a chance on a quarterback and possibly get an upgrade or at least push this team or push their team to have a starting quarterback controversy. Hell, the Indianapolis Colts have Anthony Richardson there. You don't think their fan base would want Tanner McKee? Of course they would. My buddy, Justin, at the Riding the Bench Colts podcast, has been a vivid supporter of Tanner McKee. Has called for this man to be in Indianapolis for years now. You're telling me if the Colts called the Eagles and said, hey, we'll throw you a 3rd-round pick for Tanner McKee, that the Eagles wouldn't entertain that phone call? Of course they would. You'd be out of your mind not to. And that's what this move signifies. This Kenny Pickett trade just means it lets the NFL world know that, hey, yeah, Tanner McKee's our quarterback too, but maybe he's on the market. And if you're a team out there who wants to place a call for him, Philadelphia Eagles are going to sit back and listen to that phone call. They'll answer the phone. And if you throw up a good draft pick and you throw up some good capital, maybe, just maybe, the Philadelphia Eagles potentially put Tanner McKee on the trading market. Which stinks because we love the Morman Missile. But in the end, if you're trying to build a football team for the long term, these are the type of subtle moves that you make. These are the type of moves that Howie Roseman thinks about when he makes acquisitions, when he's constructing contracts, etc. If Tanner McKee turns to a 3rd, 4th-round draft pick, I'm not going to complain, and nor should you. Hey, thank you so much for watching the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. If you want to continue to support the channel, please hit the like and subscribe button down below. Also, check us out on Instagram and TikTok at Riding the Bench Eagles Pod. We're also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it, we're on there. Thank you so much for listening, and please join us next time here at the Riding the Bench Eagles Podcast.